Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling strangely heavier, as if someone didn't just talk to you, but fed off you? As if they reached inside and scooped out some sacred part of your spirit, leaving behind only emptiness and unease? You smiled, you nodded, you listened again. And when they left, you were drained, not just tired, but hollowed out. Perhaps you told yourself, maybe I'm just being sensitive, or it's not their fault. They're going through so much. You rationalized it, excused it, suppressed it, but deep down, your soul whispered, something isn't right. My dear fellow traveler, this message is for you today. On this sacred path we walk together, we confront the shadowed truth that some individuals do not seek mutual understanding, compassion, or connection. No, they seek energy, they siphon presence, they consume your peace. These are what we call emotional vampires. And though the ancients never coined this modern term, the wise Stoics understood them with chilling precision. And so, I ask you, not as a passive listener, but as an active participant on this shared odyssey, take these 3 mindful actions before we venture any further into the depths. Like this video, to help spread this message to others who may be silently suffering. Comment below. Have you ever felt your soul depleted after being around someone? Share your experience or ask, how do I protect my peace? Let us begin. A true Stoic dialogue in the comments. Subscribe to Stoic Path and walk with us toward the milestone of 10,000 fellow seekers. You are not alone. You are not without tools. You are part of a movement toward inner mastery. Now, draw a slow breath. Exhale, gently, consciously, completely. Let your body settle. Let your mind open like an ancient scroll. Let your heart, however guarded, permit the possibility of profound change. This video is not merely a guide. It is a mirror for your truth, a sanctuary of clarity, and a forge for the unbreakable armor of your spirit. Its title is simple. Some individuals drain your soul. This is how you recognize emotional vampires. Stoic insights. But its purpose is far deeper. We will walk together through the ancient wisdom of Epictetus, who taught us that it is not things, but our judgment of things that disturb us. We will stand beside Marcus Aurelius as he reminds us that our minds are sovereign realms, not feeding grounds for the chaotic emotions of others. And we will be steadied by Seneca, who even in the face of manipulation and betrayal taught how to maintain dignity without bitterness. The journey ahead will be structured around 4 profound Stoic pillars, each a torch that will light your way out of emotional entanglement and into empowered presence. These are not abstract ideas, but living disciplines that you will carry into every conversation, every decision, every moment where your peace is under siege. Before we cross the threshold, let me affirm something that no one may have told you. Clearly enough, it is not selfish to protect your peace. It is not cruel to recognize when another person is feeding on your vitality instead of feeding your growth. It is not weak to walk away. In fact, sometimes it is the strongest act of virtue. For as Stoicism teaches us, the only true power lies in our own mind, our own choices, and the cultivation of our own inner fortress. So today, I invite you to step forward with courage. Let us explore how to recognize those who drain your soul, not to judge them, not to hate them, but to discern wisely, to protect lovingly, and to live virtuously. Let us begin. There are moments in life, quiet, aching moments, when the very presence of another person seems to unravel something sacred within you. Not with noise, not with cruelty, but with a kind of invisible erosion. You sit beside them and yet feel lonelier than if you were alone. You speak, but your voice echoes into an emotional void. You offer your heart and find it returned with subtle scorn, or worse, drained dry. Have you felt this? That slow siphoning of your spirit, As if your soul is being bled drop by drop? If so, you are not weak. You are not foolish. You are simply human, and you are not alone. Today, we walk together into one of the quietest, yet most dangerous trials of the human experience. The subtle invasion of the soul by those who do not wound with swords, but with presence. The emotional vampire, as the modern world has named them. The soul drainer, the one whose very energy casts a shadow on your inner sun. But the Stoics, those ancient guardians of the inner life, knew of this long before any psychological terminology existed. Marcus Aurelius, that philosopher-emperor, wrote in his Meditations, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." He was not promoting cynicism. He was training the soul for truth. And in truth, some individuals do more than irritate. They slowly corrode. They pull you into dramas not your own. They offer no accountability for the weight they place upon your shoulders. They do not just come to drink from your emotional well. They bring no water of their own, and they leave it dry. This is why you are here. This is why we are here. Welcome, dear traveler, to Stoic Path. This is not merely a channel. This is a sanctuary for your soul, a forge where the battered spirit may be tempered. Here we do not offer shallow positivity. We offer eternal principles, practical philosophy, and most of all, an inner armor that no energy leech, no soul drainer, no emotional manipulator can pierce. But before we continue on this sacred road, together I ask you, gently and with purpose, support this sanctuary. Like this video, if your soul has known that exhaustion. Comment below, have you ever experienced someone who drained your peace? And how did you deal with it? And subscribe, not for numbers, but because our mission is to reach 10,000 souls who seek not escape, but strength. Help us build a haven for the weary-hearted, the brave, the awake. Now, breathe with me. In through the nose. Feel the air enter as if it carries the calm of a distant mountain wind. Out through the mouth, let go of the last face that made your soul feel heavy. Again, and once more. This journey is not entertainment, it is preparation, for you will meet these soul drainers again, but you shall no longer be unarmed. Let us walk the ancient path together now. One step deeper into the inner citadel, one layer closer to sovereign peace, and we begin by recognizing the signs, the first sacred lesson in the art of not only enduring emotional vampires, but transcending them. Before any cure, there must be clarity. Not all who tire you are emotional vampires. Life itself is tiring. Work drains, responsibilities stretch. Us, even those we love, may burden us at times. Not out of malice, but from the sheer messiness of human need. But emotional vampires, they are something different. Subtle, persistent, unrepentant. They do not simply exhaust you once, they leave you emptier each time you encounter them. Their weapon is not violence, but need disguised as innocence, or manipulation cloaked as care, or endless drama presented as vulnerability. They are not always cruel. In fact, some of them appear gentle, broken, spiritual even. But what they all share is this. Your light dims when they enter the room, and over time, without stoic armor, you begin to believe that the problem is you. Marcus Aurelius teaches us, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. The emotional vampire thrives in the shadows of your self-doubt. They count on your silence, on your refusal to name what they are. Because once you see it, truly see it, they begin to lose their power. So let us bring the light of clarity. There are signs, quiet but unmistakable. After spending time with them, you feel foggy, as if your mind has been wrapped in cotton. You replay conversations, searching for what you did wrong. You begin to shrink your truth, Silence your instincts. Make yourself smaller in their presence. To avoid conflict or guilt, they may flatter you, but only to hook you. Then comes the withdrawal, the coldness, the "what's wrong with you?" when you begin to speak up. And always, they leave you a little more uncertain of your own worth. This is no accident. It is a kind of spiritual theft. But here is the truth. Your energy is sacred. Your attention is gold. And your peace is your birthright. A Stoic does not hate such people, nor do we fight them with the same tactics. We observe, we reclaim, we choose. Epictetus tells us, it is not things that disturb us, but our opinions about things. To see the vampire is to revoke their silent contract with your spirit. And that is the first pillar. Recognition. Do not run from the truth. Stand in it. See clearly. Name it, not to condemn, but to liberate. You were not made to be drained. You were made to endure, yes, but also to thrive, to create, to radiate. The soul drainer did not break you. They merely revealed a place within you that now demands boundaries, wisdom, and healing. So we begin there. With vision sharpened, we walk to the second pillar, detachment without bitterness, the Stoic's true shield. There is a peculiar kind of strength in walking away without slamming the door. It is not weakness. It is not indifference. It is the highest form of discipline, the ability to separate from what harms you without needing to harm it back. Emotional vampires feed not only on your energy, but on your reaction, your anger, your confusion, your need to be understood. And this is where the Stoic stands apart, not by winning an argument, not by delivering a final blow of insight, but by simply refusing to engage the dance at all. The detachment we seek is not cold-heartedness. It is clarity with compassion. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." And it is true. We suffer because we imagine what they might think if we leave. We imagine the guilt they'll project, the loneliness we might feel, the stories they'll spread. And so we stay entangled in a war that exists mostly in the mind. But detachment does not require you to hate them. It only asks that you stop betraying yourself to stay close. You may still love them. That's allowed. You may still wish them well. That's noble. But Stoicism teaches us that love without wisdom becomes self-destruction. Compassion without boundaries becomes complicity in our own suffering. To detach is to reclaim authority over your inner life, not by severing ties with rage or retaliation, but by doing something far more difficult, letting go without drama. It is silence, not as punishment, but as protection. It is distance, not as revenge, but as medicine. It is the steady gaze inward, the moment you ask, not "how do I change them?" but "what do I no longer permit within myself?" Marcus Aurelius again reminds us, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. You do not become cold because they were unkind. You do not become manipulative because they played games. You do not explain your departure 100 times. You do not beg to be understood. You simply step away, fully, calmly, and without apology. That is detachment without bitterness, a refusal to carry emotional poison just because someone handed it to you. And when you do this, something happens inside you. The fog begins to clear. The noise quiets. You remember your own center. You feel peace, not because everything is perfect, but because you stopped giving your power to what depletes you. That is the Stoic shield. It is not built from spite or silence. It is forged in discernment. And once you hold it firmly, you are ready for the third pillar, rebuilding the inner fortress, where the energy they once stole becomes the fuel for your own transformation. There is a silence that follows separation, a quiet that is not empty but spacious. This is where the rebuilding begins, not outside, not in seeking new validation or louder distractions, but within, in the inner sanctuary where your true self has been waiting. After the storm of emotional entanglement, what remains is often fragile. Trust bruised, self-worth dimmed, energy fractured. But Stoicism teaches that such moments are not endings. They are invitations. The dismantling of what was false makes room for what is unshakable. The fortress you are about to build is not of stone or solitude. It is not a wall against intimacy or an excuse for withdrawal. It is a foundation rooted in reason, values, and self-command. You begin by asking, what do I actually control? The answer is as ancient as it is liberating. Your thoughts, your choices, your actions, not their moods, not their opinions, not their chaos. What once consumed you, their approval, their drama, their volatility, no longer belongs on your emotional payroll. You're not their keeper, you are your own sovereign. And with that sovereignty comes responsibility. You must now become deliberate with your time, your boundaries, your inner dialogue. No longer do you casually absorb every emotion flung in your direction. You become selective, disciplined, gentle with yourself but not indulgent, strong but not hardened. This is the practice, showing up for yourself daily in small, consistent ways. You rise early not to impress but to meet the morning before the noise arrives. You reflect not to ruminate but to recalibrate. You say no, not as defiance, but as devotion to your highest priorities. You invest in quiet, not because you fear others, but because you've remembered how to enjoy your own company. And slowly, your inner life begins to reorganize. The triggers that once pulled you into spirals, you now meet them with observation, not reactivity. The people who once drained you bless them from afar and get on with your day. The self-doubt that whispered you were too much or not enough. You see it now as just noise, no longer a narrative. As Epictetus said, no man is free who is not master of himself. So you rebuild, not by becoming someone new, but by remembering who you were before you were trained to believe your worth was negotiable. You reclaim your focus, your energy, your solitude, not as exile, but as homecoming. Because the inner fortress is not isolation. It is the deep knowing that no matter what swirls outside, chaos, conflict, manipulation, you are anchored. And once you have that, you are not afraid to love again, to trust again, to connect again. Because now you know, if anyone tries to pull you into their storm, you can invite them into your peace, or let them pass. That is power. That is Stoicism alive in you. You've survived the unraveling. You've reclaimed your mind. You've rebuilt your foundation. Now comes the transformation, the alchemy of Stoicism. This is where pain no longer defines you. It fuels you. You are not here merely to endure heartbreak or navigate betrayal. You are here to transmute it, because pain, if left unattended, ferments into bitterness. But if confronted with clarity and courage, it becomes something else entirely. Wisdom, fuel, fire. The Stoics never promised a life free of suffering. They promised the tools to use suffering wisely. What breaks the average person builds the philosopher. Where most see loss, the Stoic sees refinement. You do not suppress your pain, you interrogate it. What did this loss reveal about your patterns? What illusions did it shatter? What new principles did it illuminate? These are not rhetorical questions. They are how you mine your past for gold. You realize that everything you went through, every emotional contortion, every quiet humiliation, every night you stayed too long or gave too much, was not wasted. It was training. It was the universe stripping you of your delusions, sanding down your ego, sharpening your vision. The person you are now, clearer, calmer, more discerning, did not emerge despite the pain, but because of it. This is the Stoic lesson. What harmed you can also shape you if you refuse to let it define you. So you begin to transmute in small, powerful ways. You no longer talk about the past to feel sorry for yourself. You speak of it as a threshold you crossed and grew beyond. You don't waste energy resenting who hurt you. You thank them silently for showing you who not to be, what not to tolerate, and how deeply you are capable of healing. You don't chase closure, you create it internally, through understanding, through detachment, through meaning. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." So you make your pain the path. Your heartbreak becomes a deeper capacity for empathy. Your loss becomes your laser focus. Your failure becomes a forge for discipline. Others may still be trapped in the same cycles, clinging to the same dramas, lost in the same illusions. But you are no longer the same. Because you've done the hardest thing a human can do. You've faced your pain and refused to let it ruin you. You didn't just heal, you leveled up. You didn't just survive, you transformed. That is the essence of Stoic transmutation. Pain as purification. Hurt as heat that tempers the steel. Emotion as energy rechanneled toward creation. Focus, purpose. Now you move through the world not bitter, but clean. Not guarded, but discerning. Not hardened, but invincible from within. You became fireproof by walking through the fire. You have been undone and remade. What once shattered you now sharpens you. What once broke you wide open now forms the iron of your new spine. You've walked through the psychological inferno and emerged not unburned but reforged. You no longer seek validation in fleeting emotions or unstable connections. You no longer plead with the chaos to be kind. You face the chaos and remain unmoved. The world can swirl around you in noise and longing, but your center holds, because now you are governed not by your wounds, but by your wisdom. You remember the first pillar, detachment, love without addiction, care without dependence. You do not tether your worth to who stays or leaves. You belong to yourself. You hold the second pillar, discipline. Your feelings are not facts. You are not your urges. You choose what thoughts to nurture. You master the self, not silence it. You stand on the third pillar, reconstruction. Your identity is no longer a reaction to trauma. You've built a life from deliberate values. Your peace is structured, not borrowed, and you carry the fourth pillar, transmutation. You alchemize pain into strength, regret into resolve. You no longer curse the past. You use it as a compass. You don't rise each morning expecting the world to be fair, people to be perfect, or love to be easy. You rise prepared to lead yourself with calm when others spiral, prepared to let go when things no longer serve your path, prepared to meet suffering not with collapse, but with character, because now you are not just someone who has endured, you are someone who has ascended. You are not cold, you are clear. You are not bitter, you are boundaried. You are not fragile, you are forged. You are the calm in the storm, the silence behind the noise, the still water that reflects truth. You are, now and always, your own fortress. This is not healing, this is the art of becoming unshakable. And it is yours to return to whenever the world forgets who you are.